Welcome, everyone, to the Intelligent Wellness Revolution podcast. I am Ricky Salvage, the president here of North America, and I'm so excited to have you joining us today as we continue this conversation around the future of wellness, the power of innovation, and how we can help more people live healthier, more empowered lives. Now, you guys, tell us where you are coming in from, and we already have one. Thank you so much, Jean. Hello from France. Welcome. Now, one of the things that I love about this podcast is that we get to hear from incredible leaders who are not only building successful businesses, but who are creating impact in their own communities and changing the way people think about their health and wellness. Now, you guys, today's guest is someone I'm really excited about and for you to hear from. She has built an incredible journey over the past 9 years with Nu Skin, bringing together her passion for wellness, her background as a psychotherapist, and her ability to build a thriving organization. You guys, she's a 2-year Team Elite, a 4-star Platinum Team Elite, a Chief NTC Ambassador. But beyond the titles, what stands out is her vision, her heart for people, and the momentum she is creating in the UK market. You guys, please help me welcome the incredible Louise Spencer.
Hi, Ricky. Thank you so much for having me, for that lovely introduction.
Yes, good morning. Well, it's probably not good morning for you, right?
No, it's afternoon here and it is so hot. We're having a heat wave, and obviously in the UK, nowhere has air conditioning. So I've got my fans on me, just trying to cool down, but we'll make it work.
Well, the fans look great, I must say. Okay, so Louise, for those of you who may not know you, help us take us back to the beginning. Who were you before you came to Nu Skin, and what originally made you say yes to this opportunity?
Okay, yeah, I love sharing a bit about my story. I think stories are always the things that resonate with people and kind of make the opportunity that little bit more exciting when you feel like you can resonate with other people. So a little bit about me, you might tell from my accent, I'm Irish, so born and bred in Ireland. I studied physiology in university back there, and then I transferred over to the UK, where I then trained as a physiotherapist. So worked for many years in that profession, trained as an injection therapist. Loved my job. I got into it because my passion is helping people. And I never thought that I would actually leave that profession, but I was kind of had a split role where I was clinical 1 day a week. And then I was also working as a national manager for one of the largest private healthcare companies in the UK. And it was a really, really big operation. We were doing about 15,000 treatments a week. But our company got bought out by international investors. They started to restructure everything. And I was the only female who was in a managerial position. And they told me that if I got pregnant, my job wouldn't be there for me anymore. And that I could take a 50% salary reduction and go back in as a junior member of staff into clinic 5 days a week. And that was just not an ultimatum that I was prepared to settle for. So I had that happen in my work environment. The same week, my younger sister nearly passed away, just had a routine operation and suffered major complications. But it was that trauma that kind of kickstarted me into gear. And I was very like, okay, I've got money, but I've got no time. Time was my priority. I was willing to take a significant salary reduction to have more time with family because my sister was so unwell. And I had actually said no to Nu Skin 4 times in the 2 months up to this point. And to the point that actually 4 weeks before I was 100% in, I was 100% no. And I said, it's not for me. I'm a physio, I'm in clinic, I don't sell things, I don't use social media, I am never going to do this. Don't message me again. When my circumstances changed drastically, and then I came into the business a different way. This way, it was through the referral of a friend of a friend. Someone who was able to say to me, Louise, if you are looking for a great business opportunity, something you can work flexibly around your full-time job, that you can scale with no ceilings, that you can work around a family, this is the company. Go and do your own research. And that's what I did. And because I come from more of a science background, I needed to know that that checked out. And I fell in love with the epigenetics with ageLOC because as a physio, we always go to, not, we don't want to treat the symptoms, we want to go directly to the source. So when I looked at the ageLOC research, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this concept. This is so clever. And I just did my research and I recruited myself. I got connected to my sponsor, and as soon as I understood the compensation plan and the fact that we could create leverage and have both time and money simultaneously, I was like, okay, I'm all in. And I made the decision on the very first day that I met with my sponsor. And my exact words to my husband on the way home was, this is my forever home, and this is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. And I've never wavered on that decision once ever since.
Well, that is amazing. And we can absolutely tell. Now, I love that you shared that you were asked to do this business 4 times. Most people would have given up. They would have said, nope. Louise said, no, I'm going to go try, or they would have got discouraged. That is absolutely incredible. And I'm sure that you've used that in your own business to continue asking people over and over and over, because it may be a no right this moment because the situation, the timing is not right for me. So I love that you shared that. Now, okay, so you've been in this business 9 years. Tell us about some of the biggest turning points that have helped you grow from the very beginning all the way up to a team elite.
Oh, good question. Okay, so I think I've gone on a really, really big personal development journey with this company. Like, I wasn't a very confident person before I started with Nu Skin. Like, I would never want to be in photos. I would never public speak. And I always said I would never do public speaking if I joined the company. I had never sold a product before. I didn't even have a skincare routine. Like, I was using face wipes before I joined Nu Skin. Like, I was totally clueless. So I would say that I was probably one of the least likely people to come in and make this business a success. But that's kind of what I love about this. Anyone can make this business a success if you have got a burning desire for change in your life and if you're coachable and committed. And it was the right time for me. And I have learned so many things along the way. I have failed forward many times. I have made many mistakes. I've done presentations where I've gone completely blank in front of a room full of 100 people and been like, I have no idea what I'm doing. But I learn and I grow through all of these things so that I got better and better and better. And I never want people to compare their beginning to like where I am now, because I've pushed myself massively over the years. But one particular thing I think really, which I felt like was a turning point in my business, was when I was qualifying for my first success trip. And I think that for us over here in Europe, it was Ruby title to go on your first trip. And I was so focused on myself and on what I wanted to achieve for me. And it was a very selfish journey up until that point. And I had put it out all over social media that I was going to qualify for this trip. And there was other sidelines that were going. And I was so excited. I told everyone. And it got to, we had to do it over like a 6-month qualification. And I think I had to do 4 out of the 6 months. And on the last month that I needed to complete, I had done 3. So I just needed to do that last month. And what I needed to do is my 4 front lines needed to do their 2,000 points. And one of my front lines had got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I remember being like, first and foremost, being like, oh my gosh, that is dreadful. But then also, the thoughts creep in of like, oh my gosh, am I going to get to go on my trip? Right. And I got to the end of the month and I was kind of faced with a decision of, I could have maybe passed an order or, manipulated a little bit and maybe done a 200 points. I was just 200 points short of that first trip. And I remember thinking to myself, it's not right for me to go on this trip from like a selfish perspective. And I feel like I learned then and there that if I switched my thinking to how many people am I helping and doing a great job helping, that I would go on these trips organically. And I made a decision not to go on that trip. I had to put the well-being of my team member first, which was obviously the priority. But it was just the learning of like that switch in mindset, rather than, I think Ruby can sometimes be a bit of a selfish journey when you're focused on like your own goals so much. And when I changed that to, I need to create Rubies, not make myself a Ruby, then I went on my first success trip as a Blue Diamond, because I moved so fast in the business. And within 6 months, I was Blue Diamond. So that was a big learning point for me. And then the second thing was understanding the power of systems. And that took me a lot longer, a lot longer to understand the importance of simple duplication. But yeah, I think this business is all about helping other people. And I think the sooner that people can switch that mindset, the faster they'll move.
Absolutely. And that's such a great skill of a leader and truly speaks to who you are today, knowing when it's the right time to push, when it's the right time, and maybe you fail, but you fail forward. And that's how you continue to learn. And your very first trip as a blue diamond.
Mhm.
Wow. Like that's incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
So before this call, you were sharing with me that you thought that the Prism IO would be our biggest ever hybrid product across the beauty and the wellness. Can you explain to everyone why you feel so strongly about that?
Yeah, certainly. So, I genuinely believe that the Prism IO is the best opportunity renewal that we have ever seen for absolutely everyone in the business, whether you build more on social media or you build more offline. If you're older or younger, you prefer beauty or you prefer wellness, this is a product that I believe absolutely everyone can tap into. I think sometimes because it's a little bit more techy, and obviously, you might feel like you have to be face to face to scan people or whatnot. Maybe some people have pulled away from it. But for me, this is a product that we can do so well across social as well as in person. And I feel like, I would love to, and I certainly in the UK, I'm encouraging my team to build a business with a hybrid approach. So yes, leverage social media and use it to do your brand awareness and your marketing and to do your outreach and your lead generation. But equally, nothing beats human connection and being face to face with people. And I feel like if we can do both with this, it's a huge opportunity. But I think that for me, obviously, your first initial reaction is, oh, if you don't build with Pharmanex, maybe this isn't for me. And I want to share with you all that in the UK, we have never built with Pharmanex. We have always been social selling, online, driving the beauty portfolio. And because everything has been driven through social, people haven't really worked with the biophotonic scanner so much. So because I'm like, I can't duplicate this in a large organization if people aren't prepared to get out on the road. So we have never really built with it at all. And there's definitely been this hesitancy of, oh my gosh, do I pivot into wellness or what do I do here? But what I've been explaining to my team is what we'll do, number one, is this is the best entry point for, the wellness side of the business that I've ever seen. But equally, I work with a lot of people who are like skin professionals and people who like working with that side of the portfolio. But I say to people, if you are interested in skin, you will understand that, think about some of the biggest skincare issues that people have, like pigmentation, your fine lines and wrinkles, your redness, whatever. We've got so many people that are working with these big skin analyzers or your Vera that's looking at some of these things. And what is it telling you? It's telling you that this is what has happened to your skin as a result of oxidative stress, right? So it's telling you the what. The prism is telling you the why. The prism is telling you why this is happening. If you're able to provide that sort of information, we can use it as a preventative measure in the skincare space. And I'm telling you that we are getting more people on from the skincare side of the portfolio through Prism than we are doing with the beauty devices. So leading with Prism almost exclusively right now is where we're seeing all of the growth across both sides of the portfolio. And they love it because sometimes with the beauty side of the portfolio, people can think, okay, maybe it's not a professional led brand, or I use this product or I use that product. And it can take sometimes a little bit of re-education or get to people to open up to change their skincare routine if they're very passionate about a certain brand. With Prism IO, there's no competition. There is nothing else like it on the market. It's the easiest entry point. And because we can then come off the hamster wheel a little bit, because we can finally build with more subscriptive revenue, like for me, it's something that I feel like if people lean into it and see the potential in it, we're going to do amazing, amazing things. And I also want people to remember when the Lumi Spa launched, I remember having the conversation with all of the other leaders across Europe saying, we will never sell this product. It's the price point is too high. We're used to selling toothpaste. Now look at what we've created with Lumi Spa. Prism will be the exact same thing, but you've got to have that vision and that foresight to know that it's going to come before the wave starts to build. But the more marketing that we can collectively do online as well as offline, this is going to gain traction so much quicker.
Absolutely. And guys, if you haven't checked out Louise's Instagram, it's absolutely incredible how you share about this product, especially from your background, being very heavily scientific. Um, for those on your team that you're sharing about that are came in for toothpaste, that maybe came in for a Lumi Spa, right? That you are saying that we are now having success. Our skincare leaders are having success with Prism. Louise, do you have any language tips that you can share? Because I know here in North America for our social leaders, that's been one of the biggest learning curves is how do I take what I'm doing online and shift it to be more around Prism? Is there a certain product that you guys are leading with or any type of language that you can share with everyone?
Like, I think we're very focused on a few core products, like Lumispa and collagen will be, they're two that kind of like, again, are cover both sides of the portfolio really
Yeah.
nicely. And but for me, I just tell people to keep it really simple. Like, I think I like to lead with a little bit more science because it's my background and my target avatar is going to be more professionally led people because I feel like they resonate with me more. But equally from the social sellers in the business, I'm like, you don't have to come in and have all this science spiel, keep it authentic and you can talk about how this product can drive behavioral changes in your children. So it's like, make a list of all the benefits for all of the different types of people, that Prism can appeal to. And then
Yeah.
what is your ideal avatar? And then build your story around that. So like I talk about it from my daughter's perspective as well. And I'll get the moms that will reach out to me, but equally, because I can talk about it from a skin perspective or a wellness and longevity perspective, the way that I articulate different videos will resonate with different people. Is it going to get like the most traction or the most likes or whatever else? Not necessarily, because not everyone is going to sit and listen to it. So I'm not like great like Gretchen and Amanda, like they're marketing queens, right? We love watching what they do on social media, but that's not really my forte, but I lead with a more top-down approach in the business. Therefore, the videos that I'm creating are there to be left on my feed so that when I do my outreach and I'm headhunting the best people for my business, they can find that information on my feed because that's what they're going to do. They're going to have a bit of a snoop and say, well, what is this device? And then they've got something that they can go and look, and then it's an easier entry point. But when we're reaching out to people, we just keep it super simple, and we'll just say to people, I'm working on a really exciting project right now. I'm spearheading the launch of the world's first nutritional wellness device called Prism IO. It's backed on 20 years Nobel Prize winning technology. This is what it does. It's a lot to cover via text, but based on what you do, X, Y, or Z, skincare, wellness, fitness, online coaching, whatever it might be, like, I feel like this might be something that will align with what you're currently doing. Are you open to receiving some more information? Like, we're just doing that outreach and creating those sorts of conversations. So simple marketing in terms of repeat exposure in different ways, but equally we do a lot of top-down business where we're like, who do we want to work with this device? What's their profession? And how can we do that direct outreach? And I would say, like, I've already done 4 presentations today. Everyone signed up because they're like, they want to work with the product. There's nothing else like it on the market. So it's just about going out there and I would say more so than anything, like whether you're going bottom up or top down, it's just making sure you get that lead flow. You just have to go and have enough conversations about the product.
Absolutely. And I can tell, and I'm sure everyone who's listening right now, that when you hear Louise speak, you can immediately feel how passionate that she is about Prism IO, our products, and everything that we have. So just coming across to your network, whether that's in person or on social, it's so important to show up with passion and confidence because people can tell that from you immediately. And you kept sharing about collagen. What a great entry point product, collagen.
Yeah.
Now, whether you're in Europe, North America, Latin America, you guys, collagen is our number one product on this side of the hemisphere. And so it doesn't matter if you're leading into wellness or beauty, inside out, outside in. Collagen is such a strong product to start with. So I love that you keep bringing that up as well.
But I think as
Um,
well with collagen, it's kind of one thing that is just really interesting is that, like, again, from the wellness or the beauty side of things, like it's got benefits on both sides. So if you're working with collagen, Prism is the exact same. It's the exact same strategy and it should duplicate in the same way. So that's why I think it's so exciting because we've seen what we can do with collagen, but now I genuinely feel we can do the exact same thing with Prism, you know? And so you think from a skin perspective, yes, you've got the collagen, but we're also repairing that barrier function, but we can measure the absorption of the lutein. Wellness on, you know, for people who are taking collagen more so from a wellness perspective, it just works so easy. So those two to me are just like the best entry points into the portfolio right now.
Absolutely. Now, from a team perspective, if you're onboarding someone new, you said you had 4 presentations already today. Is there certain things that are working for you in terms of how you're getting new customers? How are you getting new affiliates? Anything in your systems that you might have that seem to be working? Because at the beginning, you went back to really, you had to build out your systems and make sure that they were there for your team. So is anything specific?
Yeah, so I think like, you know, the systems that we have, like how we onboard people is done in a very strategic way. And I don't force people to either go bottom down or top, you know, or bottom up or top down. I because people like to do things different ways. If somebody had come to me and said to me, like, I had to build a business bottom up, I wouldn't be here because it's not my personality. So equally, I don't want to stop my next amazing social seller from coming in if that's not necessarily how they want to build a business. So we're very structured in terms of how we do the outreach and making sure we're doing a certain amount of that every single day. If somebody wants to go bottom up and have a product experience first, we just make sure that we're following up and always asking the question and exposing them the business. If they then are open to learning more, we put them on a 3-way business presentation, which one of their uplines will do if they're new in the business to make them feel supported. Equally, if we're going top down and we're leading directly with Prism, and again, they're interested in learning more, we'll give them a bit more information, but the goal is always to get them on a presentation. And then we've got a very set structure in terms of how we go through a presentation. We cover 5 points. We cover the global market trends. We talk about the company, the products, the comp plan, and the timing. And we rarely get no's with Prism because it's such a big, there's never been a better opportunity. You know, so I just feel like as long as people have a little bit of structure in terms of how to go through it, it makes things easier to then duplicate. So we're very structured with how we do that. And then when people want to get started, then we've got like, you know, these are the best recommended kits that we'll duplicate. So like if you buy, you know, if you buy one and then you sell 3, you're going to hit your LOI and then, you know what I mean? And do it that way.
Absolutely. It's so great that when somebody is starting with you guys, that you can have a simple system for somebody to come in and say that we can get you on a phone call. And because of your passion and your confidence and your vision, you rarely get those no's. So congratulations on that.
We
Now,
also do something in the
yeah.
UK market where we run calls. We come together as a market and we run calls twice a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday so that up and coming leaders can come and listen and learn so that if they don't feel confident to do a presentation, they can plug someone in. And then so our teamwork in the UK is phenomenal. So we're very open to like, how can we help grow the collective market? Because we understand if the tide rises, all ships will rise with it. So I really appreciate that, especially because I've got a new baby. Sometimes if I am a little bit busy, I'll be like, look, there's a call on a Tuesday that you can go and log into and get all of the information, and then I can follow up afterwards. So that's super useful as well.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's talk about that new baby. Congratulations. So I
Thank you.
believe that you have a 7-year-old and maybe a 5-month-old. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I know personally from being a mom, in a professional career, a wife, all the things, it is so hard to balance everything, right? How are you doing that, especially now being a new mom again? How are you balancing your work life, being a mom, being a wife, and a business owner?
I would say organized chaos is probably the best way to explain it. I think that it's just about like not putting yourself under too much pressure. Every day, every week is going to look a little bit different. I am super organized, so I will plan my week in advance on a Sunday. Me and my husband live and die by Google Calendar. So
Yeah.
our Google Calendars are shared, and then we have literally everything blocked out because he's a successful business owner as well. So we just have to make sure that we're tag teaming all the time. But for me, I always prioritize family first. I got to make sure that my kids are looked after, they're happy, that the house is kind of stocked with food, and the school activities are sorted, and then my new skin time fits around all of that, because I feel like if I feel like my surroundings are looked after, my kids are happy, my husband is happy, then I can pour better energy into the business. But with that being said, like I I will sacrifice the things that need to be sacrificed. And I've always done that. The Netflix time, the whatever else, you know what I mean? My husband has been to our success summit over in Europe pretty much every year on his birthday, because I'm like, this is a priority for me, so it's going to be a priority for you. But it's just working in the pockets of time. And I think that there's so much to be said for the little things that you do every day and how they compound over time. So I think the best piece of advice that I can do is like, just sometimes your 100% one day doesn't look like 100% another day. Some days it just doesn't go to plan. Yesterday for me did not go to plan, but I did what I could. But I will always move the needle forward every day, no matter what.
Always moving the needle forward. You guys, I hope you wrote that down. As some days are not going to be 100% the best. You're not going to complete everything that you set out to do, but just knowing that every single day you can get better, you can move the needle forward. I love that. Now, Louise, if you could go back 9 years ago before you started this business, what advice would you give yourself?
Um, Leave your ego at the door. Is probably the best piece of advice that I can give anyone. Come in and just like, I guess when I first came in, I kind of thought to myself, I'm very successful in my own career. I'm
Right.
going to come in and I'm going to be a blue diamond in no time. And I was very coachable, but equally, I think that I didn't expect the learning curve to be as steep as it was. And I have had lots of highs and lots of lows in the business, and I've had to build and rebuild and rebuild. And I want people to understand that you're going to go through dips in the business, and leaders are born in the dips. And that for me is true. And I think sometimes, I look at the level that I feel like I'm operating at now. I don't feel like I've achieved what I'm capable of achieving yet, but I feel like my time is going to come, and it's going to come soon. And that's taken me 10 years, right? So
Yeah.
don't get stuck in the comparison trap unless you can do it in a positive way. So I look at other leaders across other markets and I compare up, and I think, wow, like I'm so inspired by what they've done, and how can I learn and be better? And if they can do it, I can do it too. I just need to maybe figure it out. But I think just leaving the ego at the door, if you're going to be anything, be coachable and listen to what your mentors have got to say to you. You're going to fast track your results if you just do that.
Absolutely. Leave your ego at the door. And if they can do it, so can I. Okay. So you've been in this business now almost 10 years, and you said
Mhm.
the best is yet to come. Louise, what are some of those future goals for you?
Oh, well, obviously for me, I want to, personally, I've got some, pin titles and stuff like that I'm working really hard on. But for me, I love the big company vision of the 10 million healthy households. And I want to get like a significant share of that. So I've set myself a goal that by the back end of 2028, I want to have at least 1,000 active prisms with 15 Life Pack and Marine Omega subscriptions on each. So we're working really hard to get those prisms out, but not just prisms out, prisms that are working prisms, they're productive prisms, they're generating volume. And if we're going out and helping enough people do that, both from a customer perspective and obviously from a business partner perspective, success is inevitable.
Absolutely, you guys. Now, okay, we're coming up here, and we're trying to keep these to more about 30 minutes or so, and we're coming up here close to that. And everything that you've shared today, number one, your passion around Prism IO and what that can do for us. And guys, nobody else has this. reiterate how many times that you said that. No one else has what we have, and we need to be sharing that from the rooftops. But you shared so many gold nuggets on one, how you're positioning Prism IO, how you're helping others on your team talk about it, maybe if they don't have that background like you do as well, but then also talking about some of the leadership skills that it takes to where you are today, the ups, the downs, all of those things to get you to where you want to go. So I know that everyone listening today took a lot of notes, and we're seeing it here in the chat. But let's end this call with, is there just one thing that you want everyone listening today to walk away, either that they're believing in themselves or believing in this opportunity? Is there one thing that you want to leave everyone with?
Yes, I think I've seen different phases in my business and in the business in general, different eras, I would say. When I first came in, it was like the rise of social media. And what worked back then doesn't necessarily work now. The second era that I came into was like the influencer era. And we had so much growth and so much success. But equally, with that, I could foresee that maybe some of these people aren't going to be here forever. And maybe the brand loyalty wasn't the same and whatever else. And it was great while it was there, but equally, is it the way that I want to build my business forever? Maybe not. I believe the era that we're in right now is the era of trust and value. The era that may not move as fast all of the time, but will be the most stable that we have ever seen. So the advice that I would give you is the grass is not greener just because we're not always building with the hype marketing that worked in the past. This is the best company with the best products, the best technology, the best corporate team, the best community. And I hate when I see people get distracted by hype over here. And I'm like, we are done building with the hype. We want to build something that is considerably more stable, that will be legacies for our children forever. And I feel like if you focus on what we've got and don't confuse hype with and feeling motivated, motivation is temporary. We've got to get disciplined and be focused on what we have. Like I say, I can see people saying like blinkers on. That's exactly it. I honestly feel like the success stories that we're going to create over the next 3 to 4 years are going to be greater than anything that we've ever seen in the company's history. But we've got to dial in. We got to lock in now.
Absolutely. We have to lock in now because we are building legacies. I absolutely love that. Now, I don't know if you can see the chat, Louise, but people are going absolutely crazy. I have goosebumps. Like, I don't know about you. We're just starting off our Friday morning, and I feel like I could go run through a wall. That is the passion that you are putting into me right now, and I can see it there in the chat as well. Guys, Louise has already done 4 business presentations today out there onboarding, getting people excited about this business. And I want to see what everyone else can do today, wherever you are in the world. Louise, thank you so much. You guys continue to join us every single Friday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time for these weekly IWR calls. Louise, thank you so much for everything that you shared today.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Show.